hall is loud, the mold chain running over its sprockets, the compressor thumping up under the roof, the cold coming off the brine tank in a flat sheet across the floor. I have my gloves in my hand. 2 hours left of it, then the flask and the drive home. I am thinking about nothing worse than that when I come through the door. Nobody is on the filler. The nozzles are dropping their dose, 12 at a time, into the moulds coming under them. The stick inserter comes down and sets 12 sticks into 12 moulds, lifts, comes down again, and the row goes into the tank with the sticks standing up in it. It is running clean. No one at the panel. No one at the stick magazine. No one down the far end where the moulds come up out of the brine. I look up at the mezzanine. The rail is empty the whole length of it. Anyone on? The shout goes up into the noise, and nothing comes back down out of it. I pull my gloves on, thumb first, and go down the line reading each station as I pass. And there is a heat coming up in my face that is not the hall. Dose is right. Sticks are standing. The magazine is down to a third. Katie never fills it past halfway because she swears it jams on her, and it wants doing inside 10 minutes or it starts missing. I get the box up onto the ledge and feed it myself, a handful at a time, the sticks clicking in against each other. Katie is on sticks tonight. I am doing sticks. The reject chute at the tank end has bars in it. A dozen, maybe more, gone soft and slumped together where they have sat. That is Merck's chute, and Merck clears it every 20 minutes. I clear it, lifting the soft ones out into the waste bin by their sticks, my gloves coming away tacky. By the time I am done, I've got a mouthful ready for the pair of them, and I want to give it to them, and there is nobody here to take it. My flask is on the ledge by the panel where I put it. My tally is under the clip with my pen through the spring, the count, and the time against it in my own figures. 4 minutes ago. I stand and look at my own handwriting, then at the hall, then back down at the number, as if reading it will put somebody at that panel. Anyone on the floor? I turn as I shout it, both hands up round my mouth, sending it down the hall, up at the mezzanine, back at the doors. The chain goes over its sprockets. The compressor thumps. The noise is the same after my voice as it was before it, and there's no gap anywhere in it where a person answers. They are in the aisles. That is all it is. I go up the gap between the frame pallets calling as I go, and there is nobody in it. Nobody in the wash bay, the hoses on their hooks, the floor dry. Nobody under the mezzanine stairs. Nobody at the chemical store. I do it fast, one after another, every place a person could be stood out of sight of the line, and it takes me less time than I want it to take. The shift board is by the panel. 6 magnets on for tonight, the names in marker beside them. Merck, Katie, Denny, Sue, Fitz, me. I say them out loud, all 5, one after the other into the hall, and I listen after each one. The skin goes up the back of my neck, stays up. I put my hand flat on the panel and hold still, waiting on it to go down, and it does not go down. The filler needs a person. The magazine needs a person. Somebody has to be taking cases off at the far end, or the whole plant backs up in 20 minutes, and it is not backed up. It is running. So they are through the back. All of them in the changing rooms or up in the office with something gone wrong, and not one of them has come down to tell me. That is what it is. I want to see Merrick's face come round that door so badly that my eyes go hot with it. I leave the tally where it is because I am coming straight back for it. And I go up the hall for the top end door, walking fast, then not walking. The door at the top end is a big stainless leaf with the seal gone gray at the corners. I get to it and put my hand out for the handle, and there is no handle. I stand with my hand where the handle should be. A flat plate the size of my palm, the hinges down the far edge. Nothing else on the whole face of it. I know this door. I came through it 4 minutes ago with my gloves in my hand. It swung shut behind me, and I have never once in 3 years had to open it from this side. I get my fingertips into the gap at the edge and pull. The gap is the width of a stick. Air comes out through it against my fingers, thin and steady, and the leaf does not move. I get both hands in it and pull with my toes braced, my shoulders back, the tendons standing up along the backs of my hands. I keep going past the point where it is doing anything, because Sue is on the other side of this, and the kettle is on the other side of this. It does not give a millimeter. It is not locked. There is nothing on it to lock. It is only shut, and the air behind me is pushing on the whole of it, the clean side held higher than the dirty side, which is how they built it. Is anyone through there? I hit the plate with the flat of my hand 4-5 times, hard enough to sting through the glove, then with the side of my fist. All 5 of them in that changing room with a brew and the door shut, and not one of them able to hear a thing over this hall. I hammer it until my wrist gives and my forearm is dead to the elbow. It makes a dull knock I can barely hear over the chain. I put my ear to it. There is the hall behind me. There is nothing through it. The office. The lights are on up there every night. And if something has gone wrong, the whole shift will be stood in it with their arms folded. I go for the mezzanine stairs 2 at a time. The door at the top has a window in it, wired glass, and I have my face to it before I have got my breath back. The corridor beyond is lit, the floor dry, the strip lights running away up to the turn at the end. Nobody in it. I count to 60. Somebody crossing that turn would take a second to cross it, and I do not want to miss the second. At 60, I start again, because 60 is nothing. People take longer than 60 to put a coat on. I get to 60 again, with my breath fogging the glass. I wipe it with my sleeve to see, and there is the same lit corridor and the same turn. is no handle on my side of this one either. From the top of the stairs, I can see the whole hall at once. 6 magnets on the board down there. My flask on the ledge. Not one person on any of it, and me up on the stairs looking down at it. I come down slower than I went up. My hands are hot and thick from the door, and there is a scrape across 3 knuckles. The changing rooms are through the top end. The yard is through the changing rooms. Every way I know out of this building starts with that door, and that door has nothing on it to pull. The other one is down past the tank at the far end, where the moulds go through into the tunnel. There is a low slot the product goes through with the curtains down it, and beside it, a personnel door. There is a handle on that one on my side, at my hand. I stand with my palm on it. Somebody is taking cases off at the far end of this plant, or the whole thing chokes inside 20 minutes, and it is not choking. Whoever is doing it, they are that way. I look back up the hall at my flask and my tally. I do not take them. I am not carrying a flask through into the wrapping side, and I will be 2 minutes and back through here with the lot of them behind me. 2 minutes. I say it out loud to hear something ordinary said in that hall. I push the lever down and go through. The door swings to behind me, and the seal takes it with a soft, sucking sound, and the noise of my hall drops away to a hum through steel. I turn round. Flat stainless hinges down the far edge, a plate the size of my palm. No handle. I knew that before I turned round. I stand in a corridor I have walked 100 times, looking at the blank back of a door I have just this second let close. The corridor runs the length of the tunnel, and it is colder in here than in the hall, cold enough that my breath comes out gray under the lights. My hall is behind steel now, down to a hum I feel through the wall more than here. What is loud in here is the tunnel, the fans in the roof of it pulling on one flat note that does not rise or drop. There is a window in the side of it, a small double one, furred white round the edges. I cup my gloves round my face and put my eyes to the clear part. Bars are going round in there in the dark, tier on tier of them on the spiral, the belt taking them up through the cold. The whole thing is loaded, bottom tier to top, every rail full, no gaps in it anywhere. I stand back off the glass. A tunnel does not fill itself in 10 minutes. That load is 40 minutes of the filler running at rate, every mold dosed, every stick set, and somebody was stood at that filler for the whole of it. Somebody was there while I was not there. Merk, the name goes down the corridor and comes to nothing. I try it again with more behind it. Then the other one, Katie, turning my head to send it both ways along the run. The fans go on pulling on their one note. The cold is through my sleeves now and into the small of my back where my top has come untucked. I get my arms crossed over it and go on down. The jacket rail is past the panel. 8 pegs, 8 jackets on them, the big padded blue ones for the cold end, hoods hanging, freezer gloves stuffed down in the pockets. Not one peg empty. Denny is on this end tonight, and Denny's jacket is on that rail, and Denny does not stand about at this end without it for 2 minutes together. So they are not down here. They are on a break, all of them at once, which nobody does. Nobody walks off a running filler for a break. Nobody leaves a tunnel loaded to go and sit down. At the discharge end, the bars come out onto the transfer, and under the transfer, there is a grate with bars on it that have fallen off the belt. I crouch down. More than a dozen of them lying there, dull, gone hard as stone, some with the stick out of them. Somebody clears those every round. 2 rounds, 3, and nobody has been down here with a scoop. I pick one up. It is cold enough through the glove to ache, and it does not give at all when I press my thumb into it. I hold it a second and put it in the waste bin, and my hand stays cold after it. A break does not do this. An evacuation does not either, because an evacuation stops the line first, and the line is not stopped, and I have not heard a sounder anywhere in this building. There is no call point in this corridor. I go the length of the wall looking for one, all the way to the far end, and there is nothing but the panel, the rail, the tunnel, and the notice. The notice is by the door at the end. Green, a running man on it, the arrow pointing on down past the tunnel. Fire assembly point and an arrow, and the way it points is the way the product goes. I stand under it. There is a taste up under my tongue like a coin. I swallow on it, and it does not go, and I swallow again. Somebody has done something daft, and the 5 of them are stood round it, somewhere laughing. That is all this is. I said 2 minutes, back through with the lot of them behind me. My flask is on the ledge in there, and I cannot get back into it. The far end of this plant is a cold store, and the way that arrow points is out through it. I go back along the rail and take a jacket off its peg. It is stiff with the cold, and it comes off the hook heavy. I put my arms into the sleeves, work the zip up, take the gloves out of the pocket, and hold them. It is somebody's jacket. It has a name in marker on the label at the back of the neck. I do not turn it round to read it, because if it is Denny's, I am going to want him here more than I can stand. Then I stand still in the middle of the corridor with the gloves in my hand, dressed for the cold end. 2 minutes does not want a jacket. The wrapping hall is warmer, and the noise in it comes in slaps. The film pulling off the reels, the jaws coming down on every bar, the sealed ones dropping onto the outfeed in a run. After the tunnel, the air on my face is almost soft. I stand inside the door in somebody's jacket and let the warm get into my hands. The bars come through from the tunnel on the transfer, hard and dull, and the wrappers take them one after another, film round, jaws down, out. 4 machines running. 4 outfeeds full. No one on any of them. I take a bar off the belt as it goes past, because I want something in my hand with writing on it. The print is on the seam, small and clean. I turn it into the light. The date on it is not tonight. It is not tomorrow either, or the end of the week. I read it twice with my thumb under the figures, and it stays what it is, months out from tonight, a date I have got no reason to be looking at. Then the sense comes back to me, and I nearly laugh out loud at myself. It is the best before. It is not today. It is today plus the shelf life, and I have read shelf life off a wrapper 1,000 times without it meaning a thing. I work it back the other way. 18 months off that date lands me on a day in a month I did not come to work in. I go through the ways that happens fast, one after another. Somebody keyed it wrong at the start of the shift. The coder took a date off the last run. There is a screen on the frame, and I go round to it, wanting a fault on it, wanting a red line, wanting anything with a reason in it. The date on the screen is the same date as the seam, sat in the box where the operator puts it. No fault showing anywhere. Right, I say, out loud, to the 4 machines. The clipboard is hanging on its nail on the wrapper frame. I lift it off. It is the batch sheet, ruled in hours down the left. Every hour with a line written against it, in the same blue biro, weights, film real numbers, a set of initials at the end of each row. The hand does not change all the way down. It is filled in to the end of the shift. Every hour to 6 in the morning has its weights and its initials written done. I look up at the clock on the wall over the door. It says 20 to 3. I look from the clock to the sheet and back again. I cannot get my eyes to stop on either of them long enough to have it. 3 hours of that sheet have not happened yet by that clock. Something goes out from under me, low down, like a stair that is not there. Somebody wrote 6 o'clock down before 6 o'clock came. Somebody sat in this chair and filled in the rest of my night. I put my glove flat on the paper, as if pressing it will settle which of the two is the real one. It is only paper. The ink has gone gray in the loops. There is a fleece over the chair back at the end machine. I pick it up by the shoulders, and it does not fold. It comes up stiff, the shoulders furred white where the draft off the tunnel end gets at it. And when I press the frost with my thumb, it crackles and holds the dent. That is Sue's fleece. Sue was sat in this chair with a brew at 11. I put it back over the chair the way it was, and I put it back carefully, because she will want it where she left it. I have been off that floor 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I say it out loud to hear how it sounds. Then I go for what I was doing before I stepped off, the last thing before the gloves in my hand. And what comes up is the top of the stairs, the door, the hall. Nothing under that. I go at it again from further back and get the same 3 things in the same order. The clock hand moves round while I stand there, one small step, then the next. I take the pen off the clip. On the next line down, under the last of the initials, I write the weight off the wrapper display, and the time, and my own initials at the end. I make them big. Somebody comes on at 6 and reads the sheet. There will be a line on it in a different hand at a time that does not fit, and they will have to ask who wrote it. I hang the clipboard back on its nail, and my hand does not want to leave it. Past the wrappers, the bars come into single file for the coder. The belt runs them up through the metal detector arch and onto the checkware plate, one pack at a time, tight and even. The stack light on the frame is showing green. Every so often, the reject arm flicks out, takes a pack off into the bin, and goes back to its rest. Somebody reads this end. There is a screen up on the frame with the counts on it, and there is a quality office in this building with the same counts on a screen in it. If this end goes wrong, somebody knows about it. I put my arm into the detector arch and hold it there. The belt goes on under it. The stack light stays green, and there is nothing metal on me anyway, not a ring, not a stud, because none of that comes onto the floor. The checkware, then. I put my hand flat on the plate as a pack comes over and press down. The arm flicks out and takes the pack. I do it again on the next one and the next, leaning my weight in. Come on, I say to the screen. The number climbs. 11, 12, 15. 15 overweights in a row. Off one line does not happen. And it puts a red bar across the top of the screen. And somewhere, there is a screen with that red bar sat on it. I count them out loud to 25, with my arm shaking from the press of it, watching the far door for it to bang open, and for somebody to come through it, going, "What the hell are you playing at?" Nobody comes through it. The belt runs clean again, and the red bar sits there with nothing happening behind it. I touch the log tab, and it is all there in a column. Reject, overweight. Reject, overweight. 25 lines of it, timed to the minute. And that is the whole of what this building has got down about me. Not a person on the floor. A weight fault 25 times over. Then I see the call point on the wall by the door. Red, the glass in it, the white lettering. I get my elbow to it, and it goes in first hit, and the sound that comes is enormous. The sounders go off along the roofline, the whole length of the hall. One flat scream after another. The beacons start throwing white light across the machines, and the noise gets in under my hood and into my teeth. I stand under it with my hands over my ears, and my heart going so hard I can feel it up in my throat and down in my wrists. This goes through to the monitoring people. They ring the site. Nobody picks up, and then they send an engine, and men come in through the doors with the doors held open behind them. I count. I get to 100 and start again and get to 100 again. My heart does not come down the whole time. It goes on hammering while I stand still, and my legs have started going with it. The line does not stop. The wrappers go on slapping through the wall. The belt runs. The reject arm takes a pack and goes back to its rest, and the beacons flash on the frame of it while it works. I go back to the door I came in by and get my fingertips into the gap. The air is still coming out against them, thin and steady, the same as it was. The fans are still pulling up in the roof. Nothing has dropped, nothing has opened. So there is nobody on the other end of any of it. Nobody at the screen with the red bar. Nobody at the panel the alarm goes to. I start shouting at it. At the checkware, at the screen, at the roof, everything I have got, calling the lot of them for leaving me, calling Merck by name to come and look at what I am stood in front of. My voice goes at the top of it and tears, and it keeps going after it is torn. I shout until there is nothing left coming out but air. I stand in the middle of an alarm nobody can hear with my throat burning, and the arm flicks out beside me and takes another pack. I take my hands down off my ears. Then I walk the length of the hall to the far door, the sounders going behind me, the beacons throwing my shadow up the machines in front of me. A machine cannot come and find me. A person can. The door takes the sounders down to a thin note behind the steel, and in front of me, the case packer is thumping, the collator gathering the packs up in fives, the tape heads going over every case with a squeal at the end of the run. Cases going out onto the roller in a line. Nobody feeding card. Nobody stood at the guard. There is a jam on the collator. I can hear it before I get to it, the thump going uneven, a pack riding up out of the gate and skewing the next one behind it. I am at the guard with my knee up into it. The knee holds the interlock, so the machine lets me in without stopping. My left hand takes the weight off the collar. My right goes in flat along the plate and pulls the skewed pack back and down. It comes out. The thump goes even again, and with my arms still in the frame, I am not on my own doing it. There are hands coming in from the other side, blue gloves, taking the weight of the collar, so mine is free. There is breath going through somebody's teeth with the effort of the hold, close in, at about the height of my ear. There is somebody saying it low, right next to me. Go on then. I pull my arm out of the machine. The other side of the frame is bare. The plate, the gate, the rollers, the wall behind them. Nobody has held that collar for me. My knee is still up in the interlock, and my hand is out in the air where the other pair of gloves was, and the packs go through the gate in fives. 5, 5, 5. I have done that clear 100 times. It wants 2 people, and everybody does it on their own anyway, with a knee in the guard. So it is 1 clear out of 100, and I have got it in my hands as if it is tonight. I put my back against the frame and go at it properly. Which night? two of us at the collator, and I cannot get the hall round it. I cannot say whether the line was running bars or tubs, whose shift, what month. It sits on its own with nothing either side of it. The hands, the breath, go on then, and no way into the rest. So I do tonight instead in order from the start. The gate, the clock, the changing room and the boots and the hairnet, the walk down the corridor with my gloves in my hand. It all comes. It comes smooth, and it is exactly the same as it comes for the night before, and the night before that. I go looking for one thing in it that is only tonight. What was said in the changing room? Who was on the gate? What I ate before I came out? I stand in a hall on my own with my eyes shut, hunting one thing in a whole night that could not belong to any other night, and there is nothing in it that is nailed down. My mouth has gone dry right through, and there is nothing in me to wet it with. I take the collar of the jacket in both hands and turn it round and read the name in the marker. I know the name. It is one of the 6 on that board. I hold it there in the light and go for the face that belongs to it. What comes is a face, and I cannot tell if it is that name's face or somebody else's off that board. The harder I go at it, the more it slides between the two. I let the collar go. Somebody had a jacket on that rail and a name in it, and I have been wearing them both round this plant for an hour. I want one of them in front of me so badly it stops me still in the middle of the floor. Not to be let out, just to have somebody stood there who knows me, who would say my name and have it be right. I open my mouth to shout for them, the way I have shouted in every hall tonight. Merrick, Katie. I've got the breath in for it, and my hands are up at my mouth. I cannot pick one. Not one of those names will come out of me with a night attached to it. I stand there with my hands up and the breath in me and nothing to shout. I let it go out slow through my nose. Then I go down the hall the quiet way, past the taped cases going out on the roller, and the roller goes on down to the palletizer through the wall, and I go after it. The palletizer hall is high and cold, and the alarm is only a beacon in here, a red flash going round the walls with no sound to it. The arm swings over, sets a layer of cases down square, goes back for the next. The magazine bangs an empty pallet out onto the deck. Down at the end, the stretch wrapper turns a full one round and round in its film, and the wrapped pallet goes off on the conveyor through a curtain of plastic strips into the dark past it. I stand and watch 2 pallets built from nothing to wrapped. It does it well. It does not miss a case. The label printer is on a stand by the wrapper, and it puts a label out for every pallet, peels it, and holds it ready on the lip. Nobody takes it. There is a wad of them curled up in the tray underneath, where they have peeled off on their own. I take the one off the lip and hold it under the beacon light to read it. Product code, count, date, then a line across across the bottom in bigger letters with a depot on it and a town, and I know the town. It is up the A road, 40 minutes in a van. There is a chilled bay on an estate in that town, and a man on nights in it with a scanner, waiting on this. Something goes up through me so fast it takes my breath with it. This pallet is going somewhere tonight, somewhere with people in it, and it is going out of this building on a lorry, and a lorry has a driver in it. I fold the label in half and put it in the jacket pocket and keep my hand over the pocket. There is a pallet truck on charge against the wall. I get on it, thumb the tiller, back it out and turn it, and I drive it up the hall at the door I came in through with the forks up. It goes in at walking pace with all its weight behind it. The leaf takes the hit and dents in the middle and stays where it is, the frame not moving, the beeper going, the tiller kicking back into my hand. I put it in again and get the same. The third time the forks slide off the steel and turn, and I stop. I sit on the truck with my hands off the tiller. There is nothing else in this hall that will open a door either, so I do the arithmetic instead. 6 o'clock is the day lot coming in through the gate, Denny's brother on the forklift, the canteen shutters going up. 3 hours of that. 3 hours is nothing. I have stood 3 hours on a line and not felt them go. I am sat on a truck in a cold hall with my legs going under me, and 3 hours does not sit in me like nothing. I have not had water since the start of the shift. My throat has gone thick, and my legs have not stopped shaking since the alarm hall. A fine shake up the front of the thighs that goes when I move and comes back when I stand. I get off the truck, go to the outfeed, take a wrapped bar off the top case. I get the film off with my teeth and eat it standing up. It is a hard, chalky cold on my tongue. It makes my teeth ache into the roots, and my throat closes on the first swallow. I eat the whole thing. It puts the cold further into me, and I eat it anyway. Afterwards, I stand with the stick in my glove. 6 hours of this hall has gone out through that curtain tonight, and none of it has stayed in the building. Every case I have touched since the wrappers is going where that label says. So I stop shouting for them. I have stood in the middle of every hall behind me calling until my throat has gone, and I am not doing it in this one. Katie is not in here. Nobody is in here. I put the stick in the bin because that is where it goes. And standing in front of that curtain, I get my breath ready for the cold behind it. The pallets go out. I go where the pallets go. That is the whole of what I have got left, one thread of it, and I take hold of it because there is nothing else in this building to take hold of. The personnel door is to the left of the curtain with a handle on my side. I put the hood up, pull the freezer gloves on over my own, and push it open into the cold store. The cold goes into my face like water. It gets up my nose and into the back of my throat on the first breath, and the wet sets solid before I have taken the second. I stand inside the door with my eyes running and let them run. It is enormous in here. The racking goes up 5 bays into the lights, and the aisles run away further than the lights carry. Pallets on every bay, furred white, the film gone opaque with it. The evaporator fans up in the roof are roaring flat out, and there's nothing else. No sounder in here. Only the beacon over the door putting red across the frost every 1.5 seconds. The conveyor comes in through the wall at the end of the infeed lane, and there is a transfer car on rails taking the wrapped pallets off it, running them down the main aisle, setting them down at the far end. It goes off with one and comes back for the next. That way is the way out. I go after it down the main aisle, keeping to the middle where the floor is dry. My breath comes back into my face off the hood and freezes on the fur of it. By the 3rd crossing, I want the label out of my pocket, to look at the town, to have the reason in front of me. I get the pocket open with the heel of my hand. My finger and thumb go into it, and I cannot feel the paper between them. I can see them holding it. I can see the fold of it come up out of the pocket. It goes out of my fingers on the way and lands flat on the ice. I kneel down and scrape it up against the palm of my other hand. I get it into my fist and go on with it in there. I do not try the pocket again. The shivering starts properly at the 4th crossing, and it is not like being cold. It comes up out of my back in waves that shut my jaw for me, my teeth going hard enough to hurt the hinge of it, my shoulders jumping up round my ears and dropping and jumping again. I cannot walk straight through it. I put both hands up under my arms inside the jacket and get my chin down in the hood and go on. 4 aisles, I say into the hood. 4 and then the end of it. I say the count out loud at every crossing because my mouth is the only thing in here that is not the fans. The door is at the 5th crossing, off to the right in the side wall. A man door with the cold store release on it. A red handle, waist height, the notice above it in 3 languages. I know that handle. Everybody who works in here knows it, because the day they put me in this store, they showed me it first. I get both hands out of the jacket and onto it. My fingers will not close round it. I get my forearm across the handle instead and lean down on it with my shoulder. It goes. The door comes off the seal with a crack of ice breaking along the frame. The air out of the hall comes at me warm. It is not warm in there. It is high and cold. And after the store, it goes over me like a bath. It comes up my sleeves and round my face. My eyes stream with it. And I stand in the doorway with my mouth open, taking it in. The arm swings over in there. The magazine bangs a pallet out. Nobody. I have been in every hall behind that door, and there is nothing in any of them. No water I can get to, no phone, no way through to the yard, and the top-end door shut on the whole lot of it. If I go back in there, I am in there until 6 with my thread gone, waiting on a shift that the sheet in the wrapping hall says has already been worked. I hold the door open with my hip, and my whole body is begging me to step through it. I stand there long enough that my hands come back enough to hurt, the fingers going hot and thick, the shivering easing off out of my back. Then I take my hip out of the door and let it swing to. It seals with a suck, and the ice grits along the bottom of it. The handle on this side is a bar of stainless with frost stood up on it in ridges, and the hall is gone. I turn round to the aisle. The transfer car goes past the end of it with a pallet and does not slow for me. My hands are shut round the label, and they will not open. I put them back up under my arms and start walking for the far end where the pallets are going. The aisles give out into the dispatch end, and the cold comes off me a little. The beacon over the bay doors is going round, red, with no sound to it. The air in here is only cold the ordinary way, and my face starts to burn with it coming back. The shivering goes out of me and leaves me heavy, my arms hanging, everything in me slow. The marshalling lanes run across in front of the bay doors, 6 of them, painted out on the floor with yellow lines and numbers. Every lane is full. Pallets nose to tail the whole length, wrapped, labeled, stacked too high where they will take it, back to the roof steel in places. There is no gap anywhere between them. The transfer car comes through behind me with another one, runs down to lane 4, sets it on the end of a lane that is already full to the line, and goes back for the next. I stand at the end of lane 1 and count what is in it and stop counting. None of it has gone. Every case I watched taped, every pallet I watched wrapped, all of it is stood here in 6 lanes, with the film going white on it, and not one of it has been on a lorry. The bay doors are behind the lanes, 4 of them, steel shutters down to the floor with the dock seals round them. I get up the side of lane 1, along the wall where there is a foot of room, and go to the first door. There is a vision panel in it at head height, wired glass, dirty on the outside. I put my face against it with both hands up either side. The apron is out there. Wet concrete under a sodium light, the yellow of it lying in the puddles, the white bay numbers painted big on the ground. Past the apron, the fence, and the gate in the fence, shut. No trailers, no cab, not a light on in anything out there, and the rain coming down through the sodium light in threads, going sideways at the top where the wind takes it. I stand with my face on the glass and watch the rain do that. It is the first rain I have seen tonight. It is falling on the other side of a piece of glass, a foot from my mouth, and I could put my hand out into it in 5 seconds if this door were a door. Then I go along to the shutter buttons in their yellow box on the frame. I get the heel of my hand on the up button and hold it there. Nothing moves. The box under it is the isolator, and the handle on it is turned to off. There is a red padlock through the hasp with a tag on it, a name in biro, and a date. I get my fist round the padlock and pull down with what is left in my arm. It is a padlock. It does what a padlock does. The fire exit is in the corner at the end of the bay, green sign over it, running man, the push bar across the middle of the door. There are pallets in front of it, 2 of them, side by side, stacked too high, put down in the corner where the floor was empty because the lanes ran out of floor. I get both arms round the corner of the bottom one and set my feet and pull. A wrapped pallet of ice cream is a ton. It comes off the floor about as much as the wall does. I go round the side and get up onto the bottom pallet, then onto the second. The film is slick with frost. My hands will not close on anything, and my boot goes out from under me. I come down on my hip on the concrete. I lie there with the cold coming up through the floor into me, and I do not get up for a while. It is not the hip. There is nowhere in this building left to get up for. Then I get my knees under me and get up anyway. I work the label out of my fist. The paper has gone soft where I have had hold of it. The town is still on it, the depot, the count. 40 minutes up the A road in a van, and a man with a scanner in a chilled bay waiting on a pallet stood in lane 4 with 200 more behind it. I put the label down on the top of the pallet by the fire door, flat, and put my hand on it. Then the noise changes. The transfer car sets one down, goes back, does not come out again. Behind me, the in-feed runs empty, the belt going round with nothing on it, and the roar off the tunnel side drops away in stages. Somebody has stopped the line. That is what a line does when somebody stops it. And I am up and running for the doorway with my dead hands out in front of me. The doorway back is a steel leaf with a plate the size of my palm on it, and I go into it with both forearms before I have got my speed off. It does not move. There is nothing on this face to get hold of, the same as the top end, the same as every one of them. And I put my forearms into it again, twice, 3 times, my boots skidding out behind me. I get my mouth to the gap at the edge and shout through it, and the air comes out past my lips against the shout. Then I stop and listen to what is happening on the other side. It is stopping in order. The transfer car first, close through the wall, then the conveyor behind it, then something further off going down through its speeds, and out. One after another, the whole way back up the plant, in the order I walked it. Nobody stops a plant like that. A person pulls one machine off at a time in the order they get to it. This is going backwards up the line from the end, timed on its own, and the run is finished because everything that was in it has been made. The last one goes somewhere a long way back, thin through all that steel, and then there is nothing coming through the wall at all. The quiet comes in on top of me. The fans in the cold store cut out behind the racking, my ears ring on after them with nothing to put in. I am alone in here. I am afraid. Nobody is coming for me. 6 is on that sheet in the wrapping hall in somebody's biro. Every hour of it, weights and initials, signed off. There is no changeover coming to this building. There is nothing left to hold on until the sound that comes up out of me is not a word. It goes out into the lanes, and there is nothing in this end of the building to send it back. I hear it stop dead in the pallets, and it goes on coming anyway until my throat tears with it. Merrick, Katie, I do not care which night they are. I want their faces on the other side of that door. I want somebody to have been at that machine with me, and I am screaming their names at a steel leaf in a frame with my forearms going into it until my arms will not lift anymore. Then my legs put me down. I go on my knees to the pallet at the end of lane 1 and put my head down on it. The crying comes up through the whole of me at once, from my stomach, big and ragged, taking my breath and not giving it back fast enough. I get a breath in, and it goes out as noise before I can hold on to it. My heart is going so hard the whole front of me is moving with it. There is a shake in me that is nothing to do with the cold, and I could not stand up in it. I say please into the film on the pallet. I say it again, with my mouth against the plastic. The lights go over my head. They do not go out. They step down, bank by bank across the roof of the bay, until what is left is one strip over the doors at the far end. Then that one goes. The beacon is still turning over the bay doors, red every second and a half, on the film, on the backs of my gloves. The label I put down is somewhere on top of that pallet in the dark. Then the units in the roof of the bay start up, one after another, and the air off them comes down on me. The run is off the floor, and the lanes are full. This end goes down to store temperature with the rest of it. It gets to the wet on my face first. My jacket is open at the neck, and I cannot do the zip, my fingers going off the tag and off it again. The cold lies in along my collarbone. The shivering comes back from everywhere at once, my jaw shut for me, my knees knocking on the concrete. I cannot stay on this floor. There is nothing under that, no plan in it, nowhere to get up for. I get up on my hands and knees and go along the front of lane 1 in the dark, my shoulder against the film, feeling for a break in it. There is a slot between 2 pallets no wider than me. I get into it. Frozen on my left, frozen on my right. I pull my knees up, put my hands inside the jacket under my arms, and I am shaking too hard to hold them there. There is no sound in the building now, except the one I am making, and I cannot stop making it, and I could not tell anybody my own name if they came through that door this second.